Hello, and welcome to the John Appiah Show. The John Appiah Show is an engaging and interactive talk show that focuses exclusively on personal development and professional development. The essence of the John Appiah Show is to create that platform from which our audience can pick up valuable information, knowledge, insights, practical tips, and strategies as to how they can better build their careers and become more efficient and productive at whatever it is that they are doing. The John Appiah Show can be watched live on YouTube by going to YouTube and searching for the John Appiah page. Once you find the John Appiah Show page, make sure you subscribe so that you can follow all our episodes on YouTube. You can also follow us on our Facebook page and Instagram page by searching for the John Appiah Show on these pages. Remember that the John Appiah Show is aimed at helping you to become a better person. So I encourage you to tell your friends about it, tell your colleagues about it, so that they can also subscribe to the John Appiah Show on YouTube and get to learn and become better people. The John Appiah Show is brought to you by the kind courtesy of sponsorship from the A-League Consult, the African Chamber for Youth Development, Koforidua Clinic, and our next guest TV show. We'll be back with the very first episode after this short commercial break. Stay with us. Welcome to the A-League Consult. The A-League Consult is a human capital development organization that provides capacity building, skills training, and skills enhancement for individuals and businesses. What we seek to do is to bring to the table in-depth knowledge, insights that will help people to become better at whatever it is that they are doing. The A-League Job Search Incubator is an initiative of the A-League Consult and the African Chamber for Youth Development. The incubator provides the platform to bring together job seekers to provide for them training, capacity building, skills enhancement, coaching, and mentoring that will adequately prepare them for the job market. When you are part of the incubator, what you would gain is that after you have received the training and the coaching and the guidance and then all that, it adequately prepares you such that on your own, you are able to identify very good job opportunities and you are able to apply for these jobs on your own. We'll put together a pool of applicants that have undergone this training to become the go-to place that employers can actually come into the incubator to headhunt people to fill vacancies they have in their various businesses or organizations. How do you become part of the incubator? You need to just put together your CV and send an email with the CV attached to info@aleagueconsult.com. There is more to just waking up daily, going to work, and getting paid at the end of the month. Did you know that if you possess the right skills set, mindset, and the right network, you can rise up the corporate ladder into top leadership? Did you know that your progress and promotion is 100% your own responsibility? How do you take your career into your own hands? And how do you rise up the corporate ladder? Well, the answer is for you to be part of the A-League of Young Professionals. The A-League of Young Professionals is a network of highly ambitious and successful young professionals who are determined to become business leaders. Members receive training, capacity building, and direct mentoring from successful industry captains and C-suite executives on practical steps, strategies, and skills to help members make progress and advancement in their careers. The A-League of Young Professionals. Stay connected, be empowered, and rise to the top. Welcome back from that commercial break. Remember, this is the John Appiah Show, and you can always watch the John Appiah Show on YouTube by searching for the John Appiah Show on YouTube so that you can get to follow on the subsequent editions of the John Appiah Show. In our very first episode, we want to focus on what I call the job search. Now, bear in mind that anytime we say the job search, people usually think that it is restricted to only those who are unemployed. But today in the show, I'll try to draw your attention to the fact that the job search doesn't only encompass those who are unemployed, but it also affects people that are actually employed but are looking for better job opportunities. all of these two categories of people will still fall under the job search conversation. And therefore, I will encourage you to pay attention to our discussions, and you can get to contribute and share your thoughts and ask questions as we go along the show. So bear in mind that the job search is not just about the unemployed, but it is also about those who are employed but are looking for greener pastures or looking for better opportunities. The principles I will discuss will help all these people in this category. So if you're unemployed, after listening to the John Appiah show, listening to the thoughts that I will share on this show, it should position you in a way that you'll be able to get a job. And if you're already employed but looking to move into another job, this will also be a good platform for you to pick up valuable information that will help you to do that necessary switch. First of all, let me ask you a question. Are you employed or you are unemployed? It may look like a very interesting question, but think about it critically. Because you see, from the research I have done, from my exposure and experience, I've come to realize that a lot of people who are crying that they are unemployed are actually employed. And I'll try to prove it to you in this episode. Let me first start by trying to define what a job is. Because you see, once you understand what a job is, then you can assess yourself and find out whether you have a job or you don't have a job. And remember, when you have a job, you are employed. But if you don't have a job, then you are unemployed. Now, a job is simply any piece of work that you do that earns you an income. Any piece of work you do that earns you an income. In other words, anything you do that brings a form of revenue to you, anything that you do that provides for your livelihood can be classified as a job. So you may have a job that brings you, at the end of the month, a salary. You may have a job that doesn't bring you monthly salary, but weekly salary or weekly remuneration. You may even have a job that pays you per the hour. You may even have a job that pays you every 2 weeks. But the point I'm trying to make is that anything you do that provides a source of livelihood for you can be classified as a job. Now, there are two main broad categories of jobs. We have the jobs we usually refer to as the white-collar jobs and the jobs we refer to as the blue-collar jobs. Most of the time, graduates are people that are so excited about the white-collar jobs at the expense of the blue-collar jobs. But I want to take my time to focus on these two categories of jobs for you to understand that whether or not you work in the informal sector or the formal sector, once you have a source of livelihood, once you do something that brings you an income, once you do something that generates a form of revenue for you, you have a job. So let me start by paying attention to the white-collar job, because that's the most popular kind of jobs that most graduates and young people aspire to have. Now, the white-collar jobs essentially refers to jobs that are in the formal sector. All the jobs you can think of that are within the formal sector falls under the white-collar jobs. Now, typically, the white-collar jobs are associated with working on a desk or sitting behind a desk, most likely with a computer in front of you and doing something like that. That is the white-collar job. So it could be an administrative role, it could be a clerical role, it could also be a managerial role. So there are some key characteristics of the formal sector or working in the formal sector which I would like to bring to your attention. So for example, people that work in the white-collar jobs or work in the formal sector, first of all, have what we call a formal contract with their employers. So whatever company or business you're working with, once it's within the formal sector, there is a written contract or a written document that spells out essentially the relationship between you and your employer. The second thing too is that most white-collar jobs come with predefined work conditions and job responsibilities. What it means is that if you work within the formal sector, you have a clear picture in your mind of what it is that you're supposed to do, what your responsibilities are, and what you're supposed to achieve at the end of the day. The third thing about formal sector jobs is that when you do a formal sector job, you are assured of a decent salary. In other words, decent is relative. It's very, controversial. What I may call decent may not be decent for you. But the point I'm trying to draw attention to is that once you work within the formal sector, you are given a fixed salary at the end of the month, or as per the rules of engagement in that particular business setup, you are given a regular compensation. It is also important to note that once you work within the formal sector, there are fixed working hours. That is how come, especially those who work with the formal sector or in the formal sector, have what they call overtime. Because if you tell me in my contract that I'm supposed to start work at 8 and close at 5, but for some 1 or 2 reasons, I may have to work beyond the 5 p.m. closing time, then all that I do is outside the working hours. And most of the time, some businesses, organizations pay for overtime. So if you know that you work from Monday to Friday, but due to some 1 or 2 reasons, you're asked to come and work on a Saturday and a Sunday, you may be paid overtime. Not all of them do it, but it is right that they do it. So that tells you that if you work within the formal sector, your working hours are predefined and they are fixed. It is also important to know that most people that work in the formal sector don't work in isolation. They work together as a team or work together with a team. So you may work in an office and there may be other officers you work with in order for you to achieve your aims and your objectives. Now, all these characteristics comes together to create the atmosphere for the formal work or work in the formal sector. So the white collar jobs that most of us aspire to work or to achieve or to have comes with all these predefined characteristics. Those who work in the formal sector, for the purposes of examples, those who work in the civil service fall under the white collar jobs. Those that work in the public sector units, those that work with the government services, the ministries, the departments and agencies, those that work with multinationals, private companies, schools, research institutions, management organizations, the banks, the telecommunications organizations, all these people fall under the white collar job, or they work within the formal sector. Now, let's quickly move into the informal sector, those we typically call the blue collar jobs. So these are jobs that are in the informal sector, and this class of workers essentially are successful based on the skills and the talents and the gifts that they have. What it means is that usually in the informal sector, you may not necessarily need a certain level of academic qualifications in order to succeed or to get a job in the informal sector. Now, what happens again is that those people that work within the informal sector, they are also guided by a number of characteristics. The first one is that typically for work within the informal sector, there is no formal contract. In other words, there's no written documentation that spells out the rules of engagement. But over time, these things are changing and people are learning to appreciate the fact that even though it may be an informal sector job, it may have to come with a form of a documentation to guide the engagement. But typically, most informal sector jobs doesn't come with any written contract. The other thing too is that there is no systematic working condition. In other words, there are no predefined working conditions that are attached to that particular job or to that particular work. The third thing is that sometimes you get irregularly paid. What it means is that what you do for company A or for man A or woman A, the compensation you get may not be the same if you do or work for another person or a different organization. So in the informal sector, there's nothing like a fixed wage. It depends on your ability to negotiate. So someone, for example, can do a painting for you and take a particular amount, but he can do the same painting for another client and take another amount. The point is that for the informal sector, your negotiation skills are key in helping you to be successful. Then it's also important to understand that there are no fixed hours to the work in the informal sector. So as and when you have the energy and the strength and the time and the vitality, you can actually get to do your work in the informal sector. Now, having said that, I'll give you examples of people that fall under the informal sector. So from street vendors to farmers to hawkers to small petty traders, micro entrepreneurs, home-based workers, shoemakers, porters, laborers, photographers, on and on and on and on. All these will fall under the category of the informal sector. Now, my key take for this show today is to draw your attention to the fact that even though you may not have a white-collar job, whatever it is you are doing that earns you an income qualifies to be called a job. I'm saying this because I know countless number of people that are doing very well in the informal sector, but are yet still looking for opportunities to work in the formal sector. I know of a particular situation where somebody does work in the informal sector, gets a lot of compensation for it, but the parents, for example, are putting a lot of stress on this gentleman to get a job in the formal sector. But at the end of the day, what people look over, or what people forget is that even though you may not be working in the formal sector, whatever it is that you are doing that brings you income, it's also important. You can focus on that, you can develop that, you can improve that, and that can be a continuous source of sustenance and livelihood for you. So my take for this show today is to draw our attention to the fact that a lot of us that are crying that we are unemployed, in the strictest sense of the word, we are not unemployed. It is just that we have employment, but it is in the informal sector. You may be doing something you call a side hustle, but that side hustle is enough to bring you compensation, remuneration, and a form of livelihood. What we are saying today on the John Appiah Show is that irrespective of where you find yourself, once you are determined to do the best at what it is you do, it can provide for you a source of livelihood, and that can be a source of sustenance for you. We'll be back after this commercial break. Welcome to the A-League Consult. The A-League Consult is a human capital development organization that provides capacity building, skills training, and skills enhancement for individuals and businesses. What we seek to do is to bring to the table in-depth knowledge, insights that will help people to become better at whatever it is that they are doing. The A-League Job Search Incubator is an initiative of the A-League Consult and the African Chamber for Youth Development. The incubator provides the platform to bring together job seekers to provide for them training, capacity building, skills enhancement, coaching, and mentoring that will adequately prepare them for the job market. When you are part of the incubator, what you would gain is that after you have received the training and the coaching and the guidance and then all that, it adequately prepares you such that on your own, you are able to identify very good job opportunities and you are able to apply for these jobs on your own. We'll put together a pool of applicants that have undergone this training to become the go-to place that employers can actually come into the incubator to headhunt people to fill vacancies they have in their various businesses or organizations. How do you become part of the incubator? You need to just put together your CV and send an email with the CV attached to info@aleagueconsult.com. There is more to just waking up daily, going to work, and getting paid at the end of the month. Did you know that if you possess the right skills set, mindset, and the right network, you can rise up the corporate ladder into top leadership? Did you know that your progress and promotion is 100% your own responsibility? How do you take your career into your own hands? And how do you rise up the corporate ladder? Well, the answer is for you to be part of the A-League of Young Professionals. The A-League of Young Professionals is a network of highly ambitious and successful young professionals who are determined to become business leaders. Members receive training, capacity building, and direct mentoring from successful industry captains and C-suite executives on practical steps, strategies, and skills to help members make progress and advancement in their careers. The A-League of Young Professionals. Stay connected, be empowered, and rise to the top. Welcome back from the commercial break. And remember, this is the John Appiah Show. You can get to watch the John Appiah Show on YouTube. When you go to YouTube, search for the John Appiah Show. The John Appiah Show is brought to you by the kind sponsorship of the A-League Consult, the African Chamber for Youth Development, Koforidua Clinic, and our next guest TV show. So in the concluding part of this conversation, I'd like to draw your attention to some very important things for you to ponder over as we work very hard at ensuring that we have a form of employment that brings us a livelihood. I have said that even though people work in the informal sector, they've been going around complaining that they are unemployed because the prestige and the acclaim that goes with working in the formal sector seems to overshadow the people that work within the informal sector. So what I'm driving at is that for people that work in the informal sector and have a source of livelihood, you don't have to waste all your energies and all your time looking for a job in the formal sector. What you can actually do is that you will sort of regularize what it is you are doing in the informal sector. You will add a level of professionalism to what you are doing in the informal sector. And over a period of time, this can be an established source of income that can provide for you and for your family. So those who are just wasting a lot of energies and complaining and saying that they want a formal job. Let me give you a very typical example. I know of a young man that has an Uber, or he has a car which he uses for Uber. And in a conversation with him, what he earns at the end of the month compared to his colleagues who are working in the formal sector, he does better than them in terms of his salary or in terms of what he earns at the end of the day. But this is the same person who's also strictly looking for a job behind the desk, looking for a job in an office, because the parents sort of don't understand why he has gone to the university, he has graduated from a tertiary institution, and he's working, driving a car in town, and they want something better than that. But you see, if you really pay attention to some of these things, you may not be able to do something meaningful with yourself, because there are a lot of opportunities in the informal sector that people can capitalize on and use that to provide a source of livelihood for themselves. So bear in mind that people who work within the informal sector that are driven by the fact that they went to school and therefore they deserve a job in the formal sector, the work world doesn't work like that. It is something that is different from what you have on paper. In the actual sense of the word, it is not always the case that because you went to school and maybe graduated with a first class or whatever it is, you have to necessarily get a job in an office, put on a suit and a tie and do an 8 to 5 job. I'm trying to draw attention to the fact that even though you may have put in a lot of frantic efforts to get a job, you may not have gotten a job in the formal sector yet. But what it is you are doing now provides for you. Maybe you help somebody in a shop, maybe you are very gifted with your hands, so on occasions you do makeup for people, or you are a hairdresser, you are good with that, or maybe you're a very good caterer, you're able to cook very well, and for the meantime you're providing food for people and they are paying you for the food you provide for them and all that. These are all avenues that you can get a source of income, and therefore if you pay attention to this and you focus hard on building a business out of some of these things, I can assure you having a job in the formal sector may not be compared to having a job in the informal sector. It is all up to you and how you decide to do what it is that you are doing. Let me also say before I end that the most important thing in all of this conversation is that you have something doing for yourself or doing with yourself. You may not get up Monday to Friday to go to work. Maybe the schedule of work you have in the informal sector is only on the weekends. What it means is that you have a lot of time for yourself to develop the art or develop the skill with which you are using to earn some income for yourself, so that at the end of the day, if you take yourself and you compare yourself to somebody who works in the formal sector and then you compare to yourself working in the informal sector, you realize that at the end of the day, you all have a form of compensation. Some may be more, some may be less, but the most important thing is that you have something going for you, and that should be enough for you. So all those people who are crying are unemployed but have something going for them in the informal sector, don't close your eyes to that opportunity. Don't disregard or look down on that opportunity. The most important thing, as I keep saying, is for you to make the best out of that opportunity. It is just a matter of time, and you get to that level that can provide for you total comfort and total security and total satisfaction. In our next episode, I'll spend some time to share with you my experiences working in the job world. And I'm sure that there are some valuable lessons you can pick up from my story so that you can also apply in your job search. And again, don't forget the job search is not restricted only to finding jobs in the formal sector, but it also includes finding a good job even in the informal sector. Remember that the John Appiah Show is live on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and search for the John Appiah Show, and you can also follow us on our various social media pages and get updates as to when you can get to watch the show and get to learn more about how to become a better professional. Thank you for joining us for this episode, and we want to say a big thank you again to our sponsors for their generous support: the ALE Consult, the African Chamber for Youth Development, the Next Guest Show, and Koforidua Clinic. We are grateful for your support. Thank you, and see you in the next episode. My name is John Appiah.